So there are two articles here, and one of them is from one of our favorite sites here, Polygon. I don't want to side with the Redditor, dang it. Well, we'll see. So, Polygon. Nintendo sues Reddit mod for $4.5 million and says it's nowhere near enough money for the harm caused. Yep. It is Polygon Fresh. I know how you feel, Fracture. But yes, we are using Polygon for the initial story. Nintendo says the amount is reasonable and that it could have asked for way more money. I know that feeling. You're walking it off helps out a lot. Oh, you're talking to Fractured. I thought you were talking about the feeling of reading Polygon. So, in short, here's what happened. So there is a Reddit mod on a Nintendo Switch piracy subreddit. Or former mod. He is no longer a mod there. Oh, that too. So this mod, well, so, you know, it's a site, as it says, the subreddit encourages fans to support the favorite developers financially, but anyone in frequency could, in theory, find piracy resources on how to illicitly obtain games for the Nintendo Portable. So this guy, known as Archbox, real name James Williams. So Nintendo is accusing him of quote-unquote copying, distributing, and promoting Nintendo Switch piracy to a wide audience. And so they're seeking $4.5 million in damages from Williams. Now, of course, the number is somewhat speculative. Nintendo is not arguing that the company suffered $4.5 million in losses. Rather, it arrived at that number by looking at similar cases. So it's just making up numbers, basically. Mainly with the Doom 2016 gameplay, but don't let me derail your stream. You lost me. You lost me, Snap. But anyway, so numbers somewhat speculative, yeah. So what Nintendo is saying is here the amount of money is sufficient to remedy Inoue's injury would be extremely difficult to quantify. In other words, they don't have a real amount. They're just making up crap. So they're claiming that this guy sent thousands of messages on Reddit to users directing them to piracy websites, at times offering technical support for issues fans might encounter while attempting to mod their Switch. And here's where the guy probably screwed up. He reportedly asked for donations of eShop gift cards in exchange for services. So usually piracy is tougher for them to go after, but as soon as you start taking money for it, that's when they really go after you. You don't remember the Polygon playthrough of Doom 2016, its Cuphead levels of that? Oh, okay. That's what you're talking about. Yeah, I saw it forever ago. I thought it was Doom Eternal, not Doom 2016. But maybe I'm mixing them up. Because I remember someone couldn't handle the platforming in Doom Eternal. And it was just pathetic. But, yeah, I vaguely remember what you're talking about now. But, yeah. But yeah, it's a decent article, so I figured we'd use it. Yeah, so they... Okay, it was 2016? Jeez. So Nintendo says it attempted to work with Williams, sent a cease and desist letter, and he initially seemed receptive, and then he denied involvement with any piracy shop and eventually became combative, and then he just deleted all his online posts. Fair. Nintendo Switch has long suffered a piracy problem. Look, it is always morally correct to pirate Nintendo games today. Nintendo is very anti-consumer. So just... If someone tells me they're pirating a Nintendo game, I just say, you know what? I can't endorse it on YouTube, but you do you. So... Let's see. Yeah, so Nintendo's gone after a bunch of people, pirate websites, hardware hackers, people who stream pirated games, which is partly why I would be so afraid to stream a Nintendo game at all, because Nintendo's always had a really big problem with streamers. They used to have this weird program where they would they wanted you to sign up for it to stream Nintendo games, and then you'd have to give them some cut of your stream revenue, which is crazy, right? And yeah, Nintendo's gone after pirates with the FBI. And Nintendo generally wins lawsuits of this nature because they might as well be a second Yakuza. Ironically, a guy named Gary Bowser was sent to prison, poor guy, over a piracy website, and now they basically have him in wage slavery. And yeah, Nintendo has elected not to seek statutory damages, blah, blah, blah. As a further gesture of reasonableness, Nintendo of America has also elected not to pursue recovery of attorney fees. So now they're saying that they're asking for this ridiculous amount of money, and then they're saying they're being reasonable, which is ridiculous. And absolutely snap. Nintendo fanboys are worse than the company themselves in a lot of ways. Yeah, they suck. And they will suck off Nintendo forever. And so we got another article here that might be a little better from Tom's Hardware. So same thing, he used to moderate Switch pirates. Let's see. So yeah, even fan edits have gotten people in trouble. So someone tried to, if you're not familiar with this guy was making a game called Another Metroid 2 Remake, which was an attempt to kind of remake, I guess, Metroid 2 for the Game Boy. And Nintendo sent him a cease and desist and forced him to quit, which sucks. Because Nintendo is Nintendo and they hate everything. They hate their fans. So yeah, the companies are seeking a $4.5 million default judgment because the defendant never showed up for the court proceedings, which is kind of funny. Yeah, so he supposedly ran several pirating sites. And yeah. So he committed the cardinal sin of piracy while doing so, charging money for it. And that typically is where they come after you legally. Fractured says, yep, I remember this project. He dropped it and everyone grabbed it ASAP. Because then, yeah, shut down. Yeah, it happens with everything. Same thing with some... I forget if that Super Mario 64 multiplayer hack or ROM hack was shut down, but I know that was one that people had to run after. There's the Princess Peach game, the Flash game, the porn game that the developer put a lot of work into, and he got a cease and desist halfway through the project. So yeah, so anyway, this guy was asking for donations to give access to pro subscriptions or get people to be able to download games a lot faster with uncapped speeds. And as they point out, those who often sail the seas know never to hide pirated content behind a paywall because then that constitutes grounds for a lawsuit. So yeah, these paywalls for piracy very much lead to lawsuits. Let's see. He was located through email addresses tied to repair orders in Surprise, Arizona. That's an interesting name for a city. And this happened before the Switch 2 announced. Yep. So yeah, they're asking for a default judgment. And yeah, now they say, to be fair, it's hard to find a lot of sympathy for someone who's allegedly profiting from pirated games. Yeah, I'm still kind of sympathetic. We certainly haven't heard Williams' side of the story yet, but that would require a showing in front of a judge, and he's probably not going to do that. So yeah, Nintendo is going after a Redditor for piracy. Yep, exactly, Snap. Crazy how Nintendo is spending a lot of resources to fight piracy instead of actually making decent games, because I believe the Switch 2 still only has 2 games. So yeah. So chat, are you on the side of the Redditor? Or are you on the side of Nintendo? Because as sad as it is, I gotta say, for once, I gotta support the Redditor. Because Nintendo is way overreaching here. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is a decent article from Polygon of all places. So, yep. Fractured is just in a very, very tough spot right now. Yep. Yep, you're feeling the pain. So, yep, that is and I think that is our final story for today. So, yeah. Unfortunately, this guy, Nintendo is probably going to just put this guy into slavery like they do with a lot of other people.